We're going into some hockey talk.
Let's
go.
We
got hockey today. Your Philadelphia Flyers have made 4 trades in the last 10 days. What the hell's going on?
They're active.
What's going on? Let's talk about it.
Culture change.
Let's talk about it.
Thank you, Phil.
Let's talk about it.
Thank you. He had it ready this time.
Have it ready.
The Flyers are making moves. They're wheeling and dealing. I don't think they're done yet either. So we're going to go through each trade because, like, they weren't just little mini, role player kind of trades. These are like
massive trades.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like major cap implications. So I'll start with the first one, okay? And we're going to go through all of them. You can tell me how you feel. But the first one, so the Flyers traded Philippe Myers and Nolan Patrick. So Nolan Patrick was former number 2 overall pick, had the migraine disorder, and just fell off the face of the earth for the team. A lot of potential, Philippe Myers was thought of as a big-time, like, top 4 defenseman. He was an undrafted guy, but he had a horrible season last year, along with Nolan Patrick.
See ya.
They gave up both of those guys for Ryan Ellis, Nashville Predator, for, 10 years now, right? He's probably a top 10 defenseman in the league, but he has injury issues. So, and that extra spot allowed the Flyers to protect one more player, which impacted the expansion draft. They didn't wind up protecting any big names. So the Seattle Kraken took a prospect unexpectedly. Whatever, we're not going to get into that. So the first thing is do you think that this acquisition solves the Flyers' defensive woes? Actually, hold that question because we'll wait till we cover the other defensemen.
Yeah.
But do you think that the Flyers overpaid for an injury-prone defenseman? Not to mention, he's expensive, and he's got like another 4 years left on his deal. He's 32, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that he's injury prone. We were talking about this, and I said that I think he's more Wentz, like injury unlucky. Like it was just a bunch of random little things that were happening. It wasn't like Sam Bradford who kept tearing his ACL and Ryan Tannehill who tore his ACL back-to-back seasons. It wasn't anything like that. It was just small little injuries that were occurring. So I wouldn't really label him as injury prone.
No, I agree with that. 100%. I think it's a great deal for the Flyers. I don't think the risk was too high, honestly. I think if you're getting a top 10 defenseman, I think it's worth it.
I mean, he is undersized, so projecting him, actually, I was wrong. He's got 6 years left on his contract at approximately $6.25 million cap hit. So you're paying him elite money. The production's always been there his whole career.
I love the deal.
I mean, he's
trying.
He's a feisty guy. He's got an offensive upside. I mean, to me, I think it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
Because I think you're cashing in on Philippe Myers having the upside, but I don't know if he's going to rediscover his form. He looked so lost to me last year. Nolan Patrick, just under the limelight of Philadelphia, I don't think it was ever going to work out. Like after missing so much time and just not finding his place. I mean, I think there's no risk, honestly, because the Flyers' defense is what cost them for the last 2 years, several years, honestly. That's what exposed their goaltending last year. I mean, we're talking about Carter Hart being one of the rising goalies in the league. He was arguably a top 10 goalie going into the season, and it shook him up because he had no help.
He was on his heels.
So, I mean, this to me, I think is a no-brainer for a top 10 guy. I'm willing to take the risk, and we'll worry about the contract later down the line because, I mean, that's what the Flyers usually do anyway. At least you picked up a big-name guy because there's not a lot of them that you can go out and get right now.
That's what the Rams do. We'll figure out the money.
And commands respect in the locker room, too.
Right. And, I mean, for what it's worth, it just seemed like with the defensemen coming up from the minor leagues, the Flyers, they got Cam York coming up probably this year. He's probably going to be the third pairing defenseman. So, to me, to get a guy to pair with Provorov, it's a no-brainer. I think it's good for him, too, because he also had a down year.
Yeah.
Likely due to the fact that, what's his name? Niskanen retired. So that was a big loss, even though he was, he wasn't in his best form. He was still a veteran presence that definitely rubbed off on Provorov. Provorov was phenomenal with him. So
he's one of the better defenders in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer, I think. So I mean,
agree.
you guys are in agreement there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So and let me also add one thing. After all the Flyers moves, they still have 13 mil in cap space.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of flexibility right now to do some big things. You got free agency coming up, and you got some other big names out there. So that was the first move. We'll talk about the second move now. Let me bring it up for you. It was Shayne Gostisbehere plus a 2022 second and seventh round pick to Arizona for nothing. It was a salary dump.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that, guys?
Absolutely. You want to free up cap space to make another big
You guys
move.
are done with Ghost?
I'm done.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
It's time for a change.
I think he needed
It's time
change.
for a change. Exactly.
Yeah, bro. He's
100%.
he's a flawed player.
Yeah, I mean,
And he
he's-
didn't really have a spot on D.
You got to change the culture in the locker room. You have to. You keep doing the same. You keep having the same players. You're getting the same results. It's not changing.
So we really don't even need to go into that. I mean, that saved them about $4 million. So that's
It's worth it.
I mean, to me, I thought they were. If you're asking me right now, I'm thinking that if the Flyers make that deal, they got to pick up some of his contract. I'm stunned that they just gave up the contract. Arizona
See ya.
assumed all of it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because I really thought that we were going to have to pick up part of it. So to me, that's a huge win. No brainer.
Absolutely.
We don't even get to spend time on that. So the third move, okay. Now this one gets you thinking. The Flyers give up Robert Hagg, a first and second rounder to the Buffalo Sabres for Rasmus Ristolainen, who was a first round pick himself, but he's had some down years, and he is, I mean, if you want to go by analytics, he is like one of the worst defensemen in the league analytically. Now that said, he's been on a terrible team. He's probably not a top 2 defenseman. He's more of a top 4 kind of guy for the Flyers. So a lot of risk there. A lot of risk, I think. What do you guys think of that? I mean,
I think he was in too high of a role in Buffalo.
and also let me add, he's on the last year of his contract. So I mean, you would have to hope the Flyers re-sign him. Otherwise, it's a massive overpay to me.
No,
Massive.
I think he was in too high of a role in Buffalo. And I think now that he's coming in and he'll have to play a lesser role, I think it could be better for him. Similar to what we were talking about when the Sixers tried to make B-level players A. The Buffalo was trying to make him an A-level player, and he's not.
He's not. Right.
So now if you're bringing him to the Flyers and he's a B-level player and you're treating him like that and you're just trying to put him in there and make him play his role, it could be more beneficial and it could work. And as far as like the first-round pick that went to Buffalo, there were 7 other teams trying.
I mean, because that was the 13th pick of the draft, so that's pretty valuable.
So yeah, but sometimes you have to overpay if you
Yeah,
want
I
to get
mean-
the guy. Like it happens. So if they were trying to, if that's the guy that they wanted, it really doesn't matter.
Supposedly the market was strong. Supposedly. I mean, I just think that if you don't re-sign him, that's an overpay. To me, already it's an overpay.
Yeah, sometimes you got to
Because-
do it.
Yeah,
but here's the thing,
But
though.
yeah, sometimes you got to do it.
And it's risk and reward. It
And
could be great.
The Flyers desperately needed some physicality.
Yes.
He definitely brings that.
My bad.
But I think definitely the Buffalo stuff played a part in it. They were just trash. He got exposed. He was constantly facing top lines. You put him next to Travis Sanheim, who kind of plays off of him real well. He's more of an offensive guy. Can play some solid defense time to time, but they kind of go together well. And then also, like, the other thing is now you got the perfect left-right hand pairings as well. That was an issue last year. I mean, so I'm a little skeptical of this one, though. I think
am.
that he needs to be re-signed, and then I'll judge it differently. But for now, I say overpay, for sure.
Yeah, they definitely overpay, but sometimes a change of scenery is very good for both parties, right?
Could be.
Yeah. So like what Mike said, like he was, the guy in Buffalo. They were counting on him, but I just don't think that, with the Flyers, he won't have to be that. So change of scenery could actually improve his play.
So you guys like it?
Yeah, and not for nothing.
I like it, but I don't love it, but I like it.
And to me, it's like, all right, well, the Flyers, they look like, okay, you know what? We're going for it.
Yeah.
We're going to try. We're getting players. We're shedding cap. We're doing this. Like, at least they're showing, like, initiative to get better.
Yeah.
So I can't fault them for that.
I mean, they need a change.
Oh, yeah. It's been,
Oh, yeah,
I
absolutely.
can't
the same
believe how
thing
many
every
years
year.
it took to
Yeah.
break up this core a little bit. But also, I guess, so my follow-up I was going to say when we were talking about Ryan Ellis was, does this solve their defensive woes? After getting these two guys do you think this shores up the defense? Because the defense has been atrocious.
It helps. It doesn't. But it's not like concrete. It's not getting. It's not going to fix every hole, but it's definitely like it's patching. It's starting to patch it up.
Because I think Cam York's ready. Like I think their defense is vastly improved.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Vastly improved.
Yeah, I think they. I mean,
and they're not done. They're not done.
Does like defensive woes? Like when you say that, they got some serious issues. So are you asking, does it solve all their problems? Probably not. I think they have a couple more moves left. So I'm gonna say no.
And they got
As of right
cap
now.
room to do it.
Yeah.
So it's
we'll
not like
see.
they're strapped. They're strapped.
And they need the cap room because they're actually looking for a backup goalie because the Olympics, they're going to play back-to-back games. So they're going to need a backup goalie, so they're going to have to spend
They want
for that.
somebody who could start about 30 games next year. So
Exactly.
Carter Hart is going to carry the bulk of the work, and
Sure.
he should. And he should be much better this year. I expect him to be outstanding. I'm shocked at what I saw this year.
But he also needs to be pushed, too. So you bring somebody in, you push them to be better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
it'll be good. It'll be good for him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I love what the Flyers did. It actually shows they want to win, and they care, and I'm on board with it.
So the fourth move, I mean, this might be the craziest of all because, I mean, everyone was assuming that they wouldn't be able to unload Jake Voracek's contract due to the fact that he didn't get picked up in the expansion draft. He wasn't. He just wasn't taken. So Jake Voracek was traded after 10 seasons, and he had phenomenal numbers with the Flyers. I mean, he's right up there with the highest in the league, and he's got some franchise numbers too. I mean, he's right up there. So phenomenal career in Philly.
It was time though.
10 years though, and they trade him straight up for Cam Atkinson, who also has 10 years in Columbus, but is more of a shoot first player. Definitely more of a penalty killer,
And cheaper option.
and so
Two
he's
things
got
the team badly needed.
So here's the thing: he's got one more year on his contract, so he's got 4 years left. Jake's got 3, but at approximately $2.5 million cheaper. So do you guys think it's a good deal?
I do, because I think it was time for Voracek to go. To be honest, I just think it's been 10 years. And like my thing is like Chuck Fletcher still was able to extract some value out of him.
Yeah.
And that was a hard contract to move because of the flat salary cap in hockey. It was so, I mean, like overall to me, I was like, oh, wow, like that's great. I thought it was an awesome move. And I think Atkinson's going to fit well. I think he's a great leader. And I just think the city's going to embrace him. I think he's going to be a fan favorite,
I'm with Mike on that.
especially with the shoot first mentality.
I'm there too. I
Like,
think that he's
Yeah.
a better fit for what we have. Like we have too many playmakers. We need guys that could shoot. The guy had 41 goals 3 years ago, and I mean he's been a productive player. So to me, like put him on a line with Couturier and Giroux. Like you might actually. I mean, Giroux hasn't had guys that are shoot first guys, like other than when he had Jaromir Jagr, which was.
Yeah.
Giroux
a flash in the pan. Yeah, and by the way,
I love Giroux.
everyone who's talking about moving Giroux, shut the hell up.
Yeah,
You know
shut the
nothing
fuck
about
up.
hockey.
That's stupid.
You know nothing.
He's
That's
so good.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's horrible.
You
gets
think I
no
stand
respect.
up? You
He's
think that I
horrible.
like Ben Simmons, right?
He's horrible.
You got Mike Giroux.
I'm playing, dude. You don't need to
call
educate me. You
I'm
don't need to educate
embrace it.
me.
If you want to,
No,
I
that's a good
take
name.
offense to Mike Simmons, but if you call me Mike Giroux, I'm all for it.
Mike Giroux.
Respect the man.
You are Mike Simmons. I have to get back to that. I'm getting back to that on Friday.
No, you're not.
You are Mike Simmons.
No, I'm Mike Giroux today. Okay, stop with that bullshit.
I had your back.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. But yeah, so I think it's a no-brainer. I think it was good for both sides. I think he's a great fit.
Yeah, for sure.
It was time, and I think that he probably has more to offer for us. Like I said, with the penalty kill, maybe you can ease a little bit of the weight on Couturier's shoulders, and then he can be more of an offensive player than usual.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because he's definitely held back by that. He's got to play in crucial minutes against the top lines, and so no brainer, I think. So overall, I mean, what do you guys think of the Flyers so far? You like what you saw?
I love it, man. I think Chuck Fletcher isn't fucking around. I think he really wants to win, and he's making all the right moves, in my opinion. So
He's
I
showing
salute
me
the
that
Flyers.
he cares.
Yeah, and I think they got way more moves coming up to even be better. So I'm with it.
So I like.
I love it. You gotta shake it up.
I'll give it like a B for now until I see what happens with the Risto aspect of it, and also
More's coming.
I want to see what else
Sure.
is done. I don't think they're done yet.
No.
Yeah, no way.
No.